All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's up, guys? Hebrewcheetah here. Going to be talking about this NBA DFS slate, Saturday, December 16th. We got a 9-game slate on tap. Got some injury news. I'm going to be going pretty quickly in this one. Don't really have a ton of time to go super deep into all of the matchup-based stuff. Just going to be running through some of the plays for each game. Got a busy day ahead of me, so yeah, we'll start with the Philadelphia 76ers taking on the Charlotte Hornets, 231 over under, Philly favored by 9. On the Philly side, pretty much just going to be Embiid or bust for me here. Really good matchup versus Charlotte, who struggled versus opposing centers this year with no Mark Williams, so he's a really, really strong spend up. I could see him getting his full workload since he's been limited to about 30 minutes in the last 2 games due to blowout. I think the Hornets should be able to hang around here. We could see a big ceiling performance out of Embiid. So I like him a lot as a spend up. And on the Charlotte side, Terry Rozier has one of the best roles right now for ball handlers and point guards. Just been dominating usage, been dominating assist percentage, time possession, all that. Price again up there at 9K, bit of a tougher matchup versus DeAnthony Melton, but his minutes should be sky high, so I don't mind him at all. I think I prefer Miles Bridges to Terry Rozier in this one. Easier matchup versus Tobias Harris. And his minutes should be really high too if PJ Washington were to miss again. A little bit less interest if PJ is in, but still think Miles Bridges is a fine play. And let's move on to the Atlanta Hawks taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Got a solid 236 over under, Cleveland favored by 2.5. On the Atlanta side, I think this is a sneaky good matchup for Trae Young. The Cavaliers play a lot of drop coverage in terms of pick and roll, so I think that just with the way he's been playing right now, the way he's been shooting, the way he's been assisting, I think that he could put up a pretty solid score again here. And the drop coverage matchup should be one that really benefits him. Should be able to get a ton of open looks from 3 and should be able to set up his teammates for some open looks. So I like Trae Young as well at 10.1. Clint Capella, if DeAndre Hunter were to miss, sees a pretty big minutes boost. Got up to 34 and 35 minutes in the last 2 games that Hunter's missed. They're starting to run him and Onyeka Okongwu more side by side as the 4 and the 5, which has definitely boosted both their upsides in minutes and in fantasy scoring. So I like Capella a lot if Hunter were to miss again. On the Cavaliers side, they're going to be really thin. No Darius Garland, no Evan Mobley for quite some time. So we're going to see pretty heavy minutes from the main 4 guys. Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, Max Strus, Karis LeVert. And yeah, I love Donovan Mitchell here. Really good matchup, even though he's going to be going against DeJounte Murray. The Hawks are top 4 pace team, bottom 4 defense, bottom 4 rim defense, bottom 10 3-point defense. They allow the 5th most points in transition, so I think that Donovan could put up a really, really big scoring night just with all the usage to go around with no Mobley and Garland. Jared Allen should see a pretty safe minutes floor here going against Clint Capella. Probably gets up 35, 36. And the Hawks are bottom 4 rim defense, bottom 7 in DVP versus center on the year, so this is a pretty solid match for him at almost 7K. Max Strus and Karis LeVert also going to see huge minutes. Strus has been one of the biggest beneficiaries with no Darius Garland and Mobley on the court this year. Sees a 7-point usage bump in his usage rates, so he should be a fine play. I think I prefer Karis LeVert though, just going to be seeing all the minutes and will take on a really big ball handling role, regardless if that's off the bench or starting. He's a fine play regardless, and we'll have to keep an eye on what they do with the starting lineup. Could see Craig Porter Jr. step in there and take on the point guard role again. But if he doesn't start, I don't think that he's in play. He's just been out of the rotation for quite some time. So that'll do it for that game. Chicago and Miami next. Got a lower total, 218. Miami favored by 5. 2 of the slower paced teams in the league. So Makes sense. Heat are really struggling to defend the interior right now with no Bam Adebayo, so I think that Vucevic has a really good matchup. 8.1K is definitely a fair price tag for him. He's been playing really well lately, 56 and 58 DK points in back-to-back games, so he's a fine play. Kobe White, one of the better players in the league over the last 2 weeks, just been crushing it. Minutes are sky high. Ball handling has been trending upwards too. And I think if you take into account what he's done over the past 2 weeks, he's just a little bit underpriced for his role. So I don't think that 7.7K is too crazy to pay for him. And then I'm pretty much just fading the Miami Heat in this side. I just don't really see much that stands out. And let's move over to Philadelphia or Indiana versus Minnesota. 241 over under with Miami or Minnesota favored by 9. Big injury news. If Tyrese Halliburton were to miss, then I think that all of, Benedict Mathurin, TJ McConnell, Buddy Hield, Bruce Brown would definitely be in play here. Definitely would make TJ McConnell a really good value. And 5.1K, he could definitely pay off that price tag. Always been a solid fantasy point per minute guy when he gets the minutes. So he would definitely be the preferred option. If Halliburton is in, then I just don't really have much interest in the Indiana side. They're running a pretty deep rotation right now, so we're not seeing anybody kind of separate. So I'd be fine getting away from Indiana if Halliburton is in. Minnesota, it's going to be the main 3 guys for me. Cat and Edwards and Rudy Gobert all have great matchups. I think I lean Cat. Just he's been one of the safer guys and gets one of the better matchups for opposing power forwards. So I like him the most. I think that you could play all of them, but I would be cautious on how you're grouping them. For me, I would be max 1 Cat and Anthony Edwards and max 1 Cat and Rudy Gobert. And then, Naz Reid definitely in play as well, 5,500. He's got huge upside, one of the few guys in that range that comes off the bench that could really give you 40. So I wouldn't mind him at all as a value piece. Let's move over to Brooklyn versus Golden State. 235 over under, Golden State favored by 3. Don't really have a ton of interest in this game. I'm kind of fine getting away from the Brooklyn guys. If there was one person to pick out, I think it would be Nick Claxton. He'll have probably the best matchup on the net side. Just the Warriors kind of towards the bottom of the pack in DVP versus centers, and then the Warriors, they're pretty easy to. I mean, it's a tough team to peg. They run a pretty deep rotation, so you're not really seeing huge minutes from anybody. So I don't think even Steph Curry projecting as well as he is right now is much in play for me. I'd much rather look to guys like Jonathan Kuminga and Brandon Podziemski. Pods got up to 35 minutes last game. He led the team in minutes, so I think that he's probably my preferred option down there. Kuminga is still limited to around 25 minutes, so his role didn't change much, even though he was starting. But those would be the 2 guys I'll be looking to. Okay, and now we got OKC taking on Denver, 236. Denver favored by 4. Solid matchup for SGA here with no KCP, who's their best on-ball defender. OKC playing super fast and pace, one of the best offenses, so I think that you could definitely get to him at 10.5K. Jalen Williams and Josh Giddey would be the other 2 guys I'd be interested in. More so the Giddey side. Minutes are not going to be there, but his usage and just the fantasy scoring has been up the last 2 games. Last 2 games got over or up to 41 DK points in back-to-back games, but still hasn't topped 30 minutes. So it might be a little thin. And then, on the Nuggets side, it's pretty much just Jokic or bust. Good matchup versus Chet and OKC. OKC is bottom 9 in DVP versus center position, so solid matchup for him. That'll do it for that game. Let's move over to Dallas and Portland. We got 234 over under. Dallas favored by 5. Excuse me. And Luka, great play here again. Mavericks, same story. They're going to be pretty thin with no Kyrie and some of the other secondary guys. Maybe no Seth Curry here. His minutes have been extremely high lately, and he's playing to that MVP caliber that we know from Luka. 63 DK points in 3 straight games. Definitely has the upside to get up to 90 DK points. He's already shown that in a week or 2 ago. I think this is a matchup where pretty solid over under, close spread, good, just really good matchup for him. I think he shows out tonight and puts up a 70-plus pointer in this one. And then, the Portland side, getting a little bit tougher with them getting fully healthy, getting Brogdon, Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton back, so that kind of dings a little bit of the upside on guys like Anthony Simons, Shaedon Sharpe. Minutes should still be really high for those guys, but just I don't think we're going to see the mid 40 to 50 point game from them as much going forward with this team getting fully healthy. I think just price adjusted and matchup based, I would kind of lean to DeAndre Ayton as my favorite play on the Blazers. Mavericks are bottom half of the league in rim defense this year and bottom 6 in DVP versus center, so he would probably be my preferred option. Okay, Utah taking on Sacramento. 240 over under. Sacramento favored by 9. Pretty big injury news in this one. Got the Jazz going to be without Clarkson, John Collins, Omer Yurtseven, and possibly Tatum Horton-Tucker. And the Kings have De'Aaron Fox listed questionable. On the Jazz side, with all the injury stuff, I think the guys you have interest in would be Walker Kessler and Colin Sexton. I think Laurie is going to be on a pretty strict minutes restriction right now, just coming back from the hamstring injury. Pretty solid matchup for both Sexton and Kessler. Domantas Sabonis, not the best interior defender, so I think Kessler could definitely get it going and put up a big boy score at 6,400. And then on the King side, if Fox is out, they'll probably start Davion Mitchell. I don't think that he'd be in play. Just a really low usage, low fantasy guy. Much rather get up to Malik Monk. He sees a really big usage bump and huge assist rate boost with no De'Aaron Fox on the floor. And similar story to Sabonis, a bit of a tougher matchup versus Walker Kessler. Jazz have kind of shored up their interior defense this year, but Sabonis' assist rate goes up to 36% with no De'Aaron Fox, and he's already been playing really well this year from a playmaking standpoint. That'll do it for that game. Let's move over to the Knicks. Last game of the night, New York Knicks and the Clippers. Pretty easy one to break down. I think on the Knicks side, you're just looking to Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson here. Have a slight lean to Brunson just for the price tag and matchup. Pretty tough matchup for Julius Randle. Going to be going against Kawhi Leonard, one of the better power forward defenders in the league. So I think it's a pretty tough matchup for Randle to get there. And then on the Clippers side, if Paul George were to miss, I think you could go right back to James Harden. Kawhi Leonard would have a lean to James Harden also for the matchup. Going to see probably RJ Barrett, DiVincenzo type guys. And that's pretty much it. If George is in, I think I would have a lot less interest in the Clippers side. Probably just be a full fade of this game if George is in. But that's going to do it for this one. Good luck to you, everybody. Hope everybody has a good weekend, good Saturday, and good Sunday of football. And happy holidays. See you guys later.